Today, we're going to explore some beta features, right? AI is advancing so fast that the range of use cases is now more limited by imagination than it is by technology. So here we're providing you a toolbox. We're going to be telling you what are our possibilities, but it's up to you and your creativity on how you use it. Right now, you can use AI for a lot of things and crazy use cases come up very often. So the first step is knowing what is possible and then taking your time and brainstorming what you can do with these possibilities. Welcome everybody to the third community hangout. We already have some quorum here and I'm glad to see so many new faces and faces also from the past community hangout. So far, we've had two hangouts. The first one discussing some AI possibilities when we just launched Bardeen AI. Then we talked about our anniversary, and today we're going to discuss some AI possibilities and beta features that we're working on, and we're going to demo them with you. We're going to discuss some ideas, and we also want to kind of get your own showcase and ideas of what we can build here. So I'm going to start sharing, and I will walk you through what we have planned today. All right, so welcome everybody to the Bardeen beta party. This is how we called it. So we're gonna be exploring some things that are only few of you will know in the community. So this is like also privileged content for you. And we're gonna be exploring some features like AI scraping, like AI created automations, and some of our new AI commands and how to use them. So the agenda for today is we're going to discuss some highlights. We're going to discuss the Bardeen AI features. We're going to discuss the beta features, and we're going to have a small moment to network at the end too. So before we start, I wanted to say congratulations to the winners of the anniversary contest. Basically, last month we were celebrating Bardeen anniversary since we launched, and we did a contest. This was what the contest was about.
Your unique Bardeen automation for the chance to win a one-on-one session with Ivan, our head of community, to help you automate your life and your business. Limited edition swag, and of course, a 1-year pro subscription to Bardeen.
All right, so those were some of the prizes, and it was super fun to do this experiment. We saw a lot of users share their favorite automations on social, and huge congratulations to our two winners. The most impressive use case was from Amit. He made an automation that sourced freelance gigs on LinkedIn, then saved them into our table, and from there he created a software web app. So that is amazing use case on how you can use data scraping as that base for you to build upon and to create apps. That was also a great timing because just 2 days ago, we had an event with Software. We were discussing how to combine Bardeen, Airtable, and Software to create web apps. So do check that out too. It's probably going to be featured on our YouTube channel soon too. And also huge congratulations to Giacomo. He's right here. And he was the winner of the highest engagement post. He went very viral with an automation that shared, that extracted all the people that comment on a LinkedIn post to Google Sheet. So kudos on that, really cool automation. So they were the winners and they're gonna get a swag, one-on-one sessions with me, and they're gonna get Bardeen Pro for an entire year. Want to comment anything on that, Giacomo?
Well, thanks guys. I'm waiting for the swag. I'm excited just to, wear some stuff. No, besides, it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I mean, Bardeen is a great tool, so it's fun to share stuff with community.
Thank you. All right, and not only Giacomo and Amit participated, there were also a lot of participants that shared on social. We made a wall of love, and we also shared it on social that basically highlights all the cool automations. So thanks to all the participants of this contest, and we really saw some cool automations. Also, there was, for instance, Juan Escobar. He did recruitment AI composed automation. So he basically created a way to make AI composed recruitment emails. There was Ignacio that is also present here. Now, I want to talk what happened since we launched Bardeen AI. We launched 2 months ago since we released this first announcement, kind of teasing around our new features on AI. And since then, I want to show you what we've released in the AI space. This has been a big switch for us as a company. We want to focus more on how we can leverage AI to create more powerful automations. And we've created content about it. And in the terms of content, I want to recommend you this pieces of content like the Ultimate AI Automation Guide that we shipped with basically no-code automations, tools, and marketing prompts that you can use with ChatGPT or Bardeen. We created videos like how to use AI for LinkedIn outreach, how to hack the job process with AI and Bardeen, and how you can, for instance, create email to apply for a job with AI and the information of that job. how you can use it for influencer marketing, how you can use it for research. And also we've made a couple blog posts on how you can use OpenAI to boost your productivity. So right now you will find a lot of content on how to use AI. You can just check our blog, check our YouTube channel, and I think it's a great time to start learning about it. And we've also created a bunch of new playbooks that you can find on our public catalog. So we've created almost 30 new automations in the catalog that you can check on, like cool use cases, like summarize the current page using OpenAI and send it to WhatsApp. So this is like a bookmark something and send it to my WhatsApp as a reminder that I need to check this. And as well, we've created many more use cases that you can explore and you can try them for free. And I think the coolest thing when you're learning Bardeen is that you actually pin them, you open them, and you see how they're built. You try to understand them so you can replicate it on your own use cases. Now on the product, we've made a lot of product changes and we ship changes every week, and every month we release an article about those changes where we talk about summary of the changes, the new announcements, the improvements, features, bug fix. I think this is the best way for pro users to stay up to date on those little details, on those new features, and be the most updated as possible on what is new on Bardeen, right? Now, what is the current toolbox? Right now we have 15 AI commands that you can use inside your Bardeen automation, inside your Bardeen app. And these are kind of the toolbox for you to build upon. But remember that it's not only about these 15 actions, it's how you combine them with the scraper, with other apps, with Bardeen native actions to make the best out of it. So far, we've created content also sharing how those actions work. I do recommend this video on how to use OpenAI to automate your work. It walks through very popular use cases and many of these actions, like how to use get image generated by OpenAI, how to use get task creation by OpenAI, and such. This is my most recommended video in support and the one I share when people are getting started with AI. And we also explored some automations on the first happy hour. And the first happy hour, you can see the recording on our YouTube too. All right, so now let's go into the topic of today. We're going to explore some beta features, right? For this, before we start, I want to give this point that right now AI is advancing so fast that the range of use cases is now more limited by imagination than it is by technology. So here we're providing you a toolbox. We're going to be telling you what are our possibilities, but it's up to you and your creativity on how you use it. Right now, you can use AI for a lot of things, and crazy use cases come up very often. So the first step is knowing what is possible and then taking your time and brainstorming what you can do with these possibilities. So we're going to start with AI command. So if you are a Bardeen user at least 1 month ago, you probably saw that we have like 30 OpenAI commands, and we've made in our last release, we've simplified them and combined them into few but more flexible commands. So instead of having different commands for, create a summary, then also create a joke, create an essay, we combine them into single commands like get customized text by OpenAI. And the cool thing is that now you can edit those actions by editing their prompts and adding context to the model, adding examples on how you want the output to be, choosing how long you want them to be, choosing the style, and selecting the format. So these are very flexible actions that you can use to create. In this case, there's 3 options: get customized text, you can create almost any text as if you were talking to ChatGPT, get composed email, and get corrected text by OpenAI. So let's go into each one of them. So the first one is get customized text by OpenAI. And the cool thing here is that if you're not a professional in prompting, you don't have to worry. Like Bardeen will help you generate those prompts and get results from AI with Bardeen. So what you need to do is just tell it what you want to do by filling in the detail. So this is the new action, get customized text generated by OpenAI. And what you need to do is select the format. So I want an essay, and you will have a drop down on what you want to pick. You will have the topic of the text, the style. So if you want it to be funny, if you want it to be more professional and such. And there's the output length and the context for the text. So in the context, this is where the magic happens. On the context, you can make it dynamic and use data from the scraper. You can use data from other actions, so you can customize that text. So let's see a couple examples. So let's start demoing it on real time. So we have our Bardeen account here, right? And I want to use this demo. So we're gonna customize the text by OpenAI, and we're gonna see how this is built. Here we have get customized text generated by OpenAI. And as you see, I'm asking it to create me an essay on new AI commands for the Bardeen community. The context is that I am a community builder, and the style of the text is professional. So if I were to run it, I would probably get an essay on this topic. Let's try it out. All right. So good evening, everyone. I am here today to talk about the exciting AI commands that Bardeen has recently released. As a community builder, I am thrilled to share this news with you. So this is super cool. It actually got me an essay that I could actually use this like a draft for this event, and how would I speak in this event with you? So this we can play around, and we can use it not only for like the specific questions, like the one I just answered. I fill in everything with the single text and like static text, but we can also make it dynamic. So whenever we run this, you can use ask me every time. So you specify what you want to run, or you can use dynamic data from the scraper or so. Here I have.
Yeah, Ivan, I do have one question.
Yeah, go on.
The length field there, how does that relate to tokens?
So the tokens, just for context, the tokens are this way that Bardeen uses OpenAI, and they have tokens for consumption, right? And when you run AI automations, you consume tokens. But the way they're consumed are on the input you put into these arguments. It's not about the output. So the output
I see. Okay.
can vary.
Okay. So you're basically saying limit the, you're telling GPT to limit the body of the content it produces to 250 words or characters?
Yeah, that's 250 characters.
Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Carry on.
All right. So here's an example. I actually thought about it while browsing LinkedIn, and I was like, hey, would it be possible to generate comments out of a LinkedIn post just whenever I'm not creative, or I just want to kind of move through faster on LinkedIn? I want to generate comments. So let's see this example in action. And this is like a small demo. Is over a LinkedIn post, I'm going to generate some comment ideas. So let's try it out. I'm going to go into this LinkedIn post. And what I want Bardeen to do is to scrape the information from this post and generate me a list of possible comments. So let me show you how it did it. So I'm going to open Bardeen, and I have this LinkedIn post comment generate. Let's see how it runs. So I'm going to run it, and I'm just going to enter an extra prompt saying, for instance, in a few sentences. I'm going to show you how it's built in a second, but I'm just going to run it first so you get a sense on what is the output. The style I'm going to use here is funny. And now you can see that you have a bunch of options. Like I want to make a happy or funny or optimistic. Here I'm going to use funny, and I'm going to run this over a LinkedIn post, and it should get me a list of possible comments. So wow, this is amazing. I am so impressed on how quickly companies have been able to take advantage of ChatGPT. This curated list of tools looks like a great resource, right? So here, for instance, I commented on the post, thanks for sharing this information. Looking forward to see how ChatGPT 4 will be used in the future. A bit weird use case, but at the same time, it's very powerful to kind of get inspiration, or just as a demo on how you can use Bardeen over things that you're doing every day, like commenting on LinkedIn, to get some inspiration on what to post. Let's see how it's built. So I'm going to open the automation, and let's see it in the builder. How it's built is that the first action, it scrapes data on active tab. And here it's very simple to create the scraper. You just got to select the content, and that's about it. Then you merge text, and what I'm doing here is I'm going to build the context for this action. So for the context, I want to tell it, hey, pretend you're a LinkedIn user, and I'm going to give you the input of a LinkedIn post, right? So pretend you're a LinkedIn user and you're just browsing through this LinkedIn post. Now, this is the content of the post. And if I have any additional prompt that I want to input Bardeen to, like saying it, hey, I want the result to be in bullet points, or I want it to be as short as possible, then I can add it here. From here, I just use get customized text, and here's how I used it. So I told it the format I want to have is bullet points. The topic of the text is commenting on a LinkedIn post. The context is the result from this action, and the style, it uses ask me every time. So when I run it, it'll ask me like, what is the style that you want to choose here? So that's how it's built, and how you can also try it on your own, right? So that's an example or ideas on how else we can try it. So I also gave a thought on other ways we can do this. So for instance, we have an ambassador that works in venture capital, and he asked me if it's possible to make a pitch, to generate a pitch out of a LinkedIn company information. So that way it's kind of easier for him to share a description, a pitch to his teammates. So that would be possible too. You can redact comments based on LinkedIn posts. You can make a paragraph description based on an Instagram profile. You can use our Twitter integration to, for instance, make jokes based on a list of tweets, and you can brainstorm from there what else you can do, right? The next action is get composed email from text. So I'm not gonna get very into depth in here because we already have some content on this action. But what changed here is that we simply added some new inputs. So before you can only input the text and add a signature. Now you can also add some extra context for how you want the email output to be. And you can ask, I want a redacted email, polite one, a funny one, or a more professional one. Then there's also get corrected text by OpenAI, and let's test it out. So right here I have an issue, so I'm gonna test it. I'm gonna open Bardeen and I'm gonna get corrected text, and here's the result. So this is a simple automation that uses get selected text on the current page. So you can find it here, get selected page, and then it uses English. And that's it. I can correct any text in one click, right? So the way it works is you simply input those two arguments, and then it's easy for you to correct any text. It really works well when using it with other Bardeen actions. So for instance, when I right click over a website, with that trigger, you can be able to do something like this, right click, and then, correct this piece of text. Let's try it out right now. Why not? So we can go here. We can use a trigger when I right click over a website and correct this text, visible everywhere, and we're going to correct the text that we have selected, and we're going to use a browser notification with the message of the corrected text. Corrected text. Okay, and that's about it. So what's happening is that we're going to correct the text with the right click, and then I should get a browser notification because I'm in. So I'm going to try it here, and I might not get the browser notification because I purposely told my computer to do not disturb, but I should get here notification. And anyway, I can also see if it ran from here, the show activity. You can see that it was successfully executed. So let's try that. You can also check the result if I showed the results from the second action, right? So I can show results, and that way I can check if it was properly ran. Let's do it again. I'm gonna run this, and let's see the result. Okay, you can, with the right click website trigger, you can correct anything in one click. So that's kind of how it works. So you can actually correct things as you go scrolling over the internet.
Ivan, I've got a question. Yeah, I mean, this is really cool stuff, and it's very thrilling. The one thing I've often wondered about, is there a feature or function that allows me to take that corrected text and simply slam it into a text editor in the same process? I mean, oftentimes we want to look at a website, see something that's wrong, fix it, and then upload it through some other content management process. But what if you're already sitting in that content management process and you simply want to say, replace the text?
Yeah, you have a good point. So something like, I want to correct this, but it not only does it tell me like what is the text, but it also modifies it right there, right?
Yeah.
So right now we don't have that feature, but we are contemplating more native browser actions that would be possible to do that, but it's not something we have currently available. So there's things you can do. For instance, you can create a Google Doc like in a click, and when you click on that browser notification, it takes you to the doc, and here you have your kind of editor, text editor for that content. So let's continue. So I'm excited to also show you this new possibility called Magic Box. So Magic Box is basically creating automations with natural language. So it's being able to type in what you want to do, like what automation you want, and get Bardeen to create an automation for you. Like it was a no-code consultant. We're going to see some examples. This is something that is not yet available for our users, but some part of this is being constructed still. And this is kind of a beta showcase for you on how you can use it. So we're going to try it out. And what we're going to do is we're going to prompt for Bardeen on what is the automation we want. Like this will open up possibilities for you to ask Bardeen, like, I don't know how to do this. Like I want it, because you might be new to Bardeen and you're not sure, you're not familiar to the actions that it contains. Let's try another query. Send Slack message. So this one is send a Slack message to all meeting participants about running late. All right. Go here and help me create a new playbook. All right, so what I want to do is send a Slack message to all the meeting participants about running late. So let's say I was running late for this meeting and I don't know how to build this automation. I can just prompt this and I get the layout to this automation. So what it does, it finds the current event, then it finds all the Slack users from that event, and it sends a Slack message. It even used AI to create that message. So apologies, I am running a bit late for our meeting. And then it sends it to the recipients of that action that was before. So this is like very powerful use case on how you can, hey, I want to do this automation. I'm just going to input it to Bardeen. And this was the output on how it built the automation for me, right? Let's try it out with another use case. Like let's say, open the current calendar meeting. I'm going to help me create a playbook. And this should figure out the logic and get me a draft of that automation. So find the current event and open the meeting link for that text. From there, I can just save it and start editing from there. And just to give an example on a more complex one, and just for you to realize what are the limitations of this one. So it's still a bit limited in terms of scraping, in terms of logic, complex logic, like conditionals, but it's very powerful for you to get a draft. So I have this automation that I use almost every day that basically creates a Zoom meeting link for an event when there's no link, right? 1 second, I'm going to search it. Link, I think it's here. Doesn't exist. Okay, this is my current automation and it does use conditionals. So I'm going to input the same name to Bardeen and I'm going to see what is the logic. So the current logic is that whenever a meeting does not have a link, it will check if it has a link. If it doesn't have a link, it will create a Zoom meeting for that event and it will add it to the description and then open that link. As I can tell you, this is something that we're still developing and is a bit limited, and some prompts might be easier than others. So it might be a good tool for you to get drafts for your automations. There's some good practices on how you can use this, like be very specific on what you want and explain what you want to happen. So like, I want you to create a Zoom link for an event when the link doesn't exist. So open the current calendar meeting, send a Slack message about running late. And those are like some ways that you can use this. And also hack that you can use is prompt similar names as the names we have in the catalog. So we have many catalog playbooks. So for instance, if you have an automation that you use for Notion, that you figure out that it already exists for Notion, but you want to use it for ClickUp, then you can prompt the similar name and just change the name into, for instance, save LinkedIn profile into ClickUp instead of Notion. So that's a way you can use it because it will look up the logic of the existing automations and then come up with a replica, changing kind of instead of Notion, it will come up with ClickUp. And some of the current limitation, it's not yet great for scraping. So it's still a bit limited. If you want to tell it, hey, scrape the current LinkedIn profile, this will improve. And we're on the process of building this. And it's also a bit limited on field mapping. Sometimes it guesses the field mapping wrong, and it's still not able to create conditionals. So this is a limitation that I actually wanted to show you. The original one looks like this. But if I were to pass it through the magic box, it would not be able to create the conditional, but it will give me a draft of that automation anyway. So just hopping into the last beta feature that I want to share, it's AI-powered data extraction. This has also been called AI scraping or AI table composition, but so far the best description I can tell you is AI-powered data extraction. This is a command that allows you to get data out of websites using Bardeen and create a table, like you were scraping, get data out of a website. And let me show you a demo that is actually from Giacomo, that is right here, on how he used Bardeen to create. So let's see the demo. So he uses the AI scraper and he fills in some inputs on the fields that he wants to get from this profile, right? So element 1, element 2, and he wants the profile content, he wants the name, and he runs the automation and it gets him a table composed with the information. So that's one demo. And we also have a demo by our engineers that show how you can get data from a website like this one. So let's see it out.
Okay, so here's a tutorial on how to create tables with OpenAI. So essentially, let's say there's a lot of data on a page and you want to compress all of the data onto a table. In this example, let's say we want to take all the transfers and trades that are going on in soccer and put them in a table. How would we do that? So we'd open up Bardeen, create a playbook, and we would first scrape all the text on a page. And we would do that by getting all the HTML.
He uses
Player.
get current page HTML and then gets the text from the website. From there, he uses this action
What we
called
do is the
get
text
table
we'd use is
creation. Get the table created by OpenAI.
this
So let's check it
text.
out.
And let's say we want to have columns. Number 1 will be do the player name because we want to know what player. Team player is going to is currently on. Current team, let's say. And let's
So these are the columns he selects.
going on with that player. And so those are the tables we want to use. And let's call this
And
let's run that
running it.
and see what we get.
All right, so here's the result. So it basically got him from the website. It analyzed the website and got him a table of the players, their current team, if they're going or not, and so you can basically use this to analyze and extract data into a table from almost any website or from any piece of text. So let's do it. Let's do it in a demo and let's see how it works. So I'm going to use this article. And what I want to do is I want to kind of classify information from this website. So I want to get the article and kind of get the differences between ChatGPT 1, ChatGPT 2, ChatGPT 3, and ChatGPT 4. So I'm going to use this and I'm going to select this text. And from here, I want to get a table that I will create right now. And I will tell it, hey, I want the chat GPT model. This will be the first column. And the second one is description, right? So what is the description of ChatGPT 1 versus ChatGPT 2 and such? So it's going to be 2 columns. And this should go over that text, analyze the information, and create those 2 columns. A way to understand this too is like if you were to tell ChatGPT, hey ChatGPT, I will give you this piece of information and I want you to build columns out of this. So it's kind of a way to understand it too. So here's the results. ChatGPT 1, a proof of model concept that will not release publicly. ChatGPT 2 made available. ChatGPT 3. So it kind of gives me some level of description based on the article on the model and the description, right? So this is the table it composed. And this you can use over articles, over lists, over single page websites. And kind of the best way to try it, I think, is the way I did it. So let's see how it's built. So how I did that is it uses 3 actions, right? So it gets the current page as HTML, then it converts HTML to text, and then it gets table created by OpenAI. Then it basically got all the text from the website, and then it created the columns. But now we can modify this. Let's see another example. Instead of doing this, we're gonna use other commands by Bardeen. We're gonna use get selected text from current page. So here we're gonna use the selected text and we're gonna ask the columns, okay, I want to have model, ChatGPT model, and model description. So these are the two columns, and I'm gonna save this and I'm gonna run it over this article, and this time the logic changes, because instead of using all the data from the website, I'm going to use a more kind of refined piece of data. So I'm going to select this text and I'm going to run the automation that already has the columns embedded into it, and it composes the table from it, right? Okay, so here's the result, and got kind of similar results, but you can see there's a bit of a difference, right? All right, so these are some best practices, is to use it on pages that have long pieces of text, and the much better the structure of the data, the better for users to try. It's already in your Bardeen apps. You can find the create AI compose table, and it has some limitations, like running it over very, very long pieces of text. It might not be the best, and lists with many variables. So if you have a website that has articles, but it has, the name of the article, the author, the description, the image, so many information, it might not be that accurate data set for it to compose a table from there. And it also works well when you try it with other Bardeen commands, like the right click, the get text from website, get data from email. So you can do things like, when you get an email, get data from that email and save it into a Google Sheets. Like if I were to get all the support emails and I want to get the name, the topic, and the description extracted for those bodies into a Google Sheets. Here, I want to ask the community. I think some of us have already experimented with this action. What have you thought about this? I don't know, Giacomo, do you want to give your thoughts? You already tried it.
Sure. Well, I can just say that I agree with the best practices and imitation that you just talked about. Basically, if you want to, how can I say, be precise, that's not where this feature is at the moment. You definitely want to use the visual scraper that Bardeen has been offering for a long time. That's much more accurate. It's very good for website that have a lot of text. That's great. The example you just showed, it works very well. The biggest limitation is that it doesn't actually scrape the HTML. It just gets the text. If you try to send the HTML directly, it won't work. I guess because either is a technical limitation of Bardeen. I mean, like they are aware that you can send whatever, so it's better not to. And also a limitation of the current API that has a limit in terms of length. That's also why Ivan was mentioning it. GPT-4 is actually increasing the length of the input that you can send to the API by 10-fold. So I guess it's going to change a lot very soon when you're going to integrate GPT-4. So hopefully we will be able to send email directly, and for instance, using classes, CSS classes to scrape better and this kind of stuff, but it's very encouraging. One thing that I saw in the chat, I think it's from Bill, about the sports website. I think that is a known problem if you just use the HTML, if you just get what you see in the on your screen, because there is no way they can understand that you are just copying, because eventually you're just copying the code that is in front of you. When it becomes a problem is when you use the server-based scraper, because in that case you're actually starting the scraping from a server, and that can be spotted as potential bot action. So the good thing about Bardeen that takes it apart from the classic scraper that work in a cloud is that they just actually copy what you have in front of you. They copy the HTML, and that is unspottable, so to say. So there's no risk in that.
Right. I totally agree. And I mean, that is one of the real advantages of Bardeen running in the browser. It's why I was attracted to it.
Well, a workaround that I've been thinking about with before adding image recognition is that potentially an automation could just take a screenshot of the page and read the screenshot. So in that case, aside from the structure of the code, you can just get the information from the screenshot. And that's something that I will be curious to see if Bardeen and when Bardeen will implement that.
No, you can certainly try it as of right now. If you were to, like, we have an action to get text from an image. And if you combine that with get table composed from that text, then you basically have a table composed of
I'm gonna give it a try.
So
actually,
you can play around with that. So that's why I'm saying, like, this action by itself, it's not as, like, you got to play with it, but it's it's more powerful when you run it with other Bardeen actions. All right. So last automations I want to share is just a story, kind of an automation that I was staying in a hotel, right? And I met this experience manager of the hotel. We ended up chatting, and she told me about her processes and how she analyzes Google Maps. And that's like a main source of insights for her on how she understands the experience and the things that she can improve. So we made this automation. So this was the idea, is going through all the reviews on Google Maps. I think it didn't work. It's not loading, but the idea is how you can go through all the reviews on Google Maps, how you can scrape them, and from there, generate an essay with the highlights on the user experience. So I want to show you how this is built, and maybe if we have a moment, we can share like the example. So what it does, it scrapes Google Maps reviews. Then I create this prompt, like pretend you are a UX manager in a hostel that is called this way, and you have this list of reviews. And from there, I use get text generated by OpenAI. There is this kind of general action for you to create a prompt to OpenAI. And from there, add rows to Google Sheets and create a text with the analysis. So if I were to run it, let's see an example. I'm going to check this hostel's reviews, and I'm going to run the automation, and I'm going to try to get from their list of reviews an entire research. So just for you to understand, this is an entire day of work. It's basically going through a bunch of reviews and not only getting that data, but also getting insights on what you should do, on what are the highlights on the user experience, what you should improve, what you are doing right. So I'm going to run this, and I'm going to get, let's get, I don't know, 50 items. Let's see if it takes a while, but this basically should scrape. So it's scraping right now. It's scraping the list of Google Map reviews, and it should generate me from there using AI. It should generate me essay on the highlights. Let's check it out. All right, so it got me the original data, and it got me the analysis. What I care about here is the analysis. So the highlights is great location, friendly staff, rooftop, good value, designed for digital nomads, and nice decor. So it basically skipped through all the repetition, through all the labeling, through all of this process to just give me the results on the highlights. So this is something that you can also think about in your companies. Like maybe I have a list of reviews, feedback, and this is how you could be able to kind of, from a list of data, how I can make an analysis out of it and kind of skip through all that middle part of labeling this, analyzing it, building an article. And this is only like a start for that article, but it gives you a good input for you to work from there. So this was an example. I don't know, any thoughts? Does this light up a bulb on how you can use this on your companies? If not, then I'm going to show you another example as helping a nonprofit automate a startup grant tracking. So what we did here is this entrepreneur, he had this Excel, right? And what they do is they apply to a lot of startup programs, and each of them have a website. And from every website, he needed to extract data like what is the name of that program? What is the description of that program? What are the dates to apply? What are the tasks that I need to follow? And when we realize, hey, all of those columns, they can be automated somehow. Like that is basically going into the website and telling OpenAI, hey, can you search for the tasks of this website? Can you summarize me the website and get me a description? And we were able to generate this automation that basically got me from a website. It was able to get the title of the website and the name of the program, the link, the description, and also the tasks that they needed to follow to apply for that program. I also shared it on LinkedIn if you want to check it out in more detail. And that's another example. I think we have here some questions. I am a big fan of Bardeen, 2 months old. Thank you for all the automation. Keep doing magic. Okay, thank you, Ritesh, and for the comment. And Irving, also hi. That's a great automation for copywriting purposes. I guess it's the one about the reviews. So yeah, I totally see how it can be used in many cases. All right. I think if no one else has any questions, I think we can wrap this up. So thank you everyone for participating. And we didn't have time to make a hangout, but the next time we might do. And if you like this session, please follow us on YouTube. This session will also be recorded there. And if you have a moment, also drop a review for Bardeen on the Chrome Store, on G2, on Capterra. That will also go all the way and will help us out kind of to be in the eyes of our users. Thank you so much for participating. All right.
Thank you.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.